know what his wife does during the day.
Sustained. The jury will disregard that last reply.
You did have reason of late, Mr. Summers, to worry about the care of the children?
Well, as I said, the housework never got done. And when I got home from work, well, the kids were always crying.
What happened after the boy Jason was rushed to hospital?
Well, I asked her what had happened, and she said he'd fallen down and hit his head.
Was this a lie?
Yeah, she admitted it later.
And had your wife told you that the boy was accident-prone?
Yes, she had. He was always covered in bruises. I wanted to take him to the doctor to see if he had bad eyes or something, but she said she already had, and the doctor said he was just a clumsy kid.
And you've now established that no such visit to the doctors ever took place?
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Summers.
Oh, Mrs. Davidson, what are you doing here?
Actually, I'm looking for Lizzie Birdsworth.
Oh, you should have phoned down. One of us would have found her for you.
Well, we're so short-staffed, I thought I should do something for myself.
Oh, I wish everyone was so thoughtful.
Oh, good morning, Lizzie.
Oh, that sounds like bad news.
Will you be all right, Mrs. Davidson?
Thank you. I've been on to the department about your half-day off. I'm having trouble getting a decision.
Trouble?
Well, we're short-staffed, Lizzie, and they're worried about security after the Judy Bryant affair.
Oh, I don't need an officer, Mrs. Davidson. You had trouble keeping me out of this place, remember?
Yes, but unfortunately, the department doesn't know you as well as I do.
Well, if the department won't let an old lady out to visit a family on her birthday, they're not worth spitting on.
Lizzie, they are not actually your family.
Well, they're the nearest thing to a family I got.
Yes, well, as I was going to say, I think we can manage it another way. We'll have a birthday party for you in here. I've spoken to Marcia, and she'd be happy to come.
Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Davidson. If that's how the department feels, you can forget about the birthday.
That's silly, Lizzie.
No, I don't, so forget it.
Well, it's up to you.
What did you mean about Marcia coming in? What about Josie?
Oh, Josie's in hospital for her operation. She went in yesterday.
My little granddaughter's in hospital and the rotten department won't even allow me out to visit her.
They haven't refused, Lizzie. It's just that I don't think we'll get approval in time.
Well, if that's what they're like, I don't even want to know about people like them. And you can forget about the birthday because it's nobody's business but mine.
So you do love your children, and you're sorry for what has happened.
I'm very sorry.
Thank you.
Mrs. Summers, I think we should establish clearly for the jury what the issue is here. You're charged with assault on your son, is that correct? Is that correct, Mrs. Summers?
Yeah, that's right.
And indeed you did assault him, did you not?
Yeah, I did.
So severely that he had to be admitted to hospital. And it was only the vigilance of a neighbour, Mrs. Jackson, which prevented you from going on.
Look, he was crying all the time. I know it was wrong, but he wouldn't stop crying. Nothing I did would make him stop. There was no one to talk to. I tried to talk to Tim, but he didn't care. I didn't know what to do.
Your son was beaten repeatedly, Mrs. Summers. I'm sure many women find themselves in a similar situation. They manage without bashing their children. Your Honour, I think we've proved our case.
I didn't think it'd be like this. Tim said terrible things about me.
It's not over yet.
Yeah, it is. Because what he said was true. I never had the housework done. And I hit me kids. My own kids.
Gail, look, win or lose, it's important that you believe in yourself.
Thanks, Captain Barton, but...
Gail, on the outside or in prison, it doesn't matter. But it is essential that you maintain that belief in yourself. Now, what you did wasn't right, but next time you'll do better.
Gail, I'm sorry.
You told the truth.
Oh, he made it all sound so awful. And when Tim started...
If you'll excuse me, I have a phone call to make.
Excuse me, Captain Barton? It's going badly, isn't it?
Oh, it's hard to tell. I'll be speaking as a character witness, and then it's up to the judge's discretion.
He doesn't look very sympathetic. What's the maximum she could get?
7 years.
Looks like Vera's been sucked right in. Hasn't been out of the tea room all day.
Yeah, it's almost too good to be true. We're getting the work done, that's all that matters.
Going well?
Like a rocket. How's the union rep? Is she happy?
Well, not exactly, but then she's got nothing to go on, has she?
That's it. Here you are.
Oh, good. Thank you.
May as well start another one.
Forget it.
Eh?
Forget it. Do a uniform.
Why?
Because we are supposed to be making uniforms, and Vera's probably counting how many we do.
Well, it's almost knock-off time. We might as well call it a day.
It's all right by me.
Just one thing. When do we get paid?
The end of the week. I'll slip you $10 each.
You slip all the money to me. I pass it on.
All right, whatever you like. Well, I'd better get these out of here.
Well, come on, you lot. Pack up. It's time to go. Well, come on, move.
Excuse me, are you in charge here?
That's right.
I'm Hazel Crow, the union rep in this factory.
Oh.
Did you know that these women are taking my girls' jobs? Now, some of my girls have got kids to feed.
Get that lot on the bus, will you? I'll only be a minute. We're doing government work here, making uniforms. Now, have you any evidence?
I just saw Andrew Reynolds walking out of here with an armful of skirts. You reckon that's not evidence?
Would you be prepared to swear to that?
If I had to.
Well, then I'll see the matter's taken further.
I think you should do that, Mrs.
Bennett. Miss Bennett.
I think you'd better do that, Miss Bennett. If it's not straightened out within 2 days, we're going on strike.
Well, it may take more than 2 days. You can't quote me as saying this, but a strike would make sure the department got the message. Very bad publicity. And I happen to believe that the proper place for prisoners is in prison.
It's nice to know we've got a friend on the other side. We do mean business.
I hope you do, Mrs. Crow. I hope you do.
As a Salvation Army social worker, Captain Barton, you've seen many women in this situation.
Yes, I have.
And what is your opinion of Mrs. Summers?
Well, since I first met her at Wentworth, I've had the chance to observe Mrs. Summers quite closely. I'm convinced that she's a victim of circumstances. She was left alone with a hyperactive child who cried persistently. On top of this, her husband was unsympathetic, and there were frequent fights which increased the pressure on her. She had no friends, and the poverty of the family meant that she couldn't even leave the house. She just didn't know how to cope.
And what do you think of her chances of rehabilitation?
Oh, excellent.
Thank you, Captain.
Captain Barton, you have outlined a series of pressures on Mrs. Summers. Are you suggesting that they excuse her behaviour?
No, not at all. But they do make it more understandable. And she's since discovered a group called Parents Anonymous, which will be able to help her. Had she known about these people before, I doubt that she'd be here now.
The fact remains, Captain Barton, she is here now, and she did brutalise this young child.
I doubt the prison would make her feel any more sorry than she already is.
That, Captain, is for the court to decide.
We find the defendant guilty as charged.
Thank you. The jury has found you guilty. Do you have anything to say before I pass sentence?
Only that I talked it over with Captain Barton and he put me in touch with Parents Anonymous. Well, we planned that I wouldn't seek custody for 6 months and meanwhile I'd live with someone who'd been through all this.
I sentence you to 2 years imprisonment, to be suspended on condition that you enter into a bond to be of good behaviour for 5 years and seek expert help and guidance as I shall hereunder direct.
For once, I'm determined to leave this place on time. I have to cook dinner tonight.
Quiet, you lot. Come on, move in, hurry. Stand over there.
Could you search them?
Mrs. Davidson, could I see you for a moment privately?
What about Miss Bennett?
Well, it's important. I think we should discuss it in your office.
Well, couldn't it wait till tomorrow morning?
Oh, I suppose.
Good, I'll deal with it then.
What's the matter, Miss Bennett? You get the brush off.